Sorry, I'm usually used to like translating at this time and waiting for him to say good evening. But good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Jump Off. We're here on again another Thursday with Roots Living Ministry, and today we have a very special guest here. We have Michelle Bear of the American Red Cross. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the American Red Cross, the services, how they can help you, how you can help them. And let me tell my co-host to say hi.
You seen that, right? The co-host, right?
Yeah,
Hey, guys,
today.
listen. It's very good to have you here. And I want to say this to the people who are listening to us, the people who are watching, Remember, we're going to give you a lot of information today. And I know it's very different for you guys because I'm not speaking Spanish. I usually speak Spanish and she translates for me. And today, I'm sorry to all the people who, speak Spanish and don't understand English. You got to buy a follow me or see me. Not playing with you guys. but we're going to be doing this in English. Okay, guys? So enjoy it. Here we go. You have any questions? You know how it is. You can comment. Give us a call. They can call today, right? No? Okay. Leave your comments. Leave your comments, if you are interested in any information that you need, something, whatever it is, put it right there in our comments so we can, chat and give you the information and tell you more or less whatever you need to know. And tonight we have this wonderful person with us, which she already said. I'm going to stay quiet because today I'm not the person she is today.
Already getting ahead of himself.
Yeah. You know me, I start and I don't stop.
So please, Michelle, please introduce yourself and, let our audience know who you are.
Yes, so as you said, my name is Michelle Bear. I'm the Executive Director for the American Red Cross in Eastern Pennsylvania. Really happy to be here.
Yes.
So incredibly happy that your mom is also one of our volunteers at our chapter.
Really?
Which has been wonderful, working side by side. This is such an amazing family. I'm very, very happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
To meet all of you, the rest of the family, and to be a part of it this evening with everyone that's out there listening. And I'm really excited to educate all of you a little bit more on what the American Red Cross really does. So many times people will see my Red Cross and immediately they think I'm there to take their blood. And we're not always just all about the blood. We have a lot more than that. Although we are the nation's largest supplier of blood, we collect and supply 40% of the nation's blood supply.
Wow.
So you are correct when you see that Red Cross to think about blood. But we are so much more than that, and we have an incredibly rich history of serving the community, not only locally, nationally, but also internationally.
That's right. That's what we're here for, so people will know that it's not only about blood. We have many programs and information. And there's many more. It's much more, and we're going to go through that in this hour.
Yes, absolutely. And It's a wonderful mission that we serve. The mission is what really attracted me to come here and work. I've been working for the Red Cross for 6 years, but I have been volunteering. I have been supporting the Red Cross financially as well as a blood donor. And I think I just got my 4-gallon pin with my last donation.
4 gallons.
And I'm ready to give again
Oh,
in
geez.
December. So that's something that I'm really proud of. I've been donating blood since I was about 18 years old.
Wow.
So it's wonderful because every unit that you donate has the potential to save 3 lives.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people get concerned that they have medical issues or they take medications and that might defer them from giving blood. But I always say go and try, because you're going to get like a mini health assessment. They're going to check your iron. They're going to check your blood pressure, have a conversation about how well you feel today. And then they will let you know based on your travel history, your medications, and your illness if you are able to give blood. So if you don't try, you will always fail.
That's right.
But if you try, you may have the opportunity to really help and serve your community and potentially help at least 3 people. And recently we've added some technology where you'll get a text message on your phone as to where your blood actually goes and what type of patient you're helping.
Oh, that's
Nice.
cool.
That really helps engage the community to continue to give when
Yeah,
you know
and that's cool.
that your blood had stayed here locally. Or recently, my last donation went to Binghamton, New York, for a trauma patient. So kind of just gives you that warm feeling that you're really helping others.
Yeah,
which
it is. Yeah,
terrific.
it's very good. Very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool.
That's nice. So you mentioned you were at the you've been working for the Red Cross for 6 years.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how you got involved with the Red Cross to
Yes,
begin with?
absolutely. So, sort of a tragic story that had a very happy ending. I was in the 10th grade back in 1979. Yes, I'm old, 56.
Oh, you look
And
young.
I was in class. I was called to the office, and my uncle was there waiting for me when I got there, and I was told that my house was on fire. And by the time I got back home, we had lost everything. There was a neighbor's home that kids broke into and started a fire, so it was arson. And that home caught our home on fire, and that was including our propane tanks, because my mom used propane at the time for heating and cooking.
Yeah.
And when you have propane tanks that are hot and are venting, the fire company focused a lot of the water and the efforts on the propane tanks instead of on the home. And unfortunately, the house burned down to the ground.
Oh, wow.
So I lost everything material, but not anything that was important.
Thank God.
because my family
That's right.
was with me. No one was in the home at the time, so things can always be replaced, but
Yeah.
the love of your family and the community outpouring and the community church outpouring, as well as agencies like the Red Cross that were there to help us, really made my heart fill for mission work. And it took me a long time after that happened. My parents were blessed enough to have insurance on the home. I always recommend that if you're renting, that you get renter's insurance. A lot of people think when they're homeowners, you have to have insurance if you have a mortgage, of course, which we did. And but if you're renting, renter's insurance is very inexpensive, and it can replace those things if you do suffer a home fire. We were able to bring a mobile home onto our property, and we lived there for 6 months while our home was rebuilt. And being a teenager, for me, I got all new clothes, I got new shoes, I got new furniture. I really didn't feel the pain of the loss that my parents really felt, and I
Yeah.
didn't know it until much later on in life. That my mom didn't have a wedding dress anymore. My mom didn't have photographs. My mom didn't have our christening gowns. Things like that
Yeah.
you really value and carry your whole life.
Memories.
The memories, exactly. But you always have those memories in your head and memories in your heart. But the
Having them,
actual
yeah.
material things, we lost all of those things, and but we were able to replace them and go on with the help of the community, with the help of our church, with the help of the American Red Cross, and that's what we do every single day now. Especially now it is fire season. People are using alternative heating sources. They're using space heaters. They're using kerosene heaters. They're using their stoves. They're using candles. And it's a very, very dangerous time of year when it's winter. We need to really be extra careful and not leave those things unattended so that, tragedy will not strike you personally.
Hey, yeah, and how can you not? Sometimes it's really hard for families, and it's expensive.
It is.
Expensive right now. I remember when I first got here to the Poconos, we didn't. I don't think we never had a winter that
Cold.
strong and cold, and
That
Yeah.
cold.
we come from New York City, and it snow, and the next day you don't see nothing.
Right.
Here, the first time I wanted to open the door, forget it. I couldn't open the door. To make the story short, I learned how to do fire. What? Because I didn't, I had no chimney, no nothing, and I loved the chimney. I loved it in the beginning, because then when I find out how much you got to put in there so you can heat up the house, I was
It's a lot of wood.
They were all sleeping, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like freezing and putting, it was, the house burned down. The house that we was renting, it burned out after we moved, and it was because of the chimney, something like that, and it was because of that. It's the season,
Yes.
and we have to be careful when it comes to things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, a little bit of extra time when you think, did I remember to turn that off? Did I remember to unplug that? If you have that little feeling in your stomach or in your mind, go back and double check, because it's the people who later on do suffer those tragedies will say, I had a thought that I didn't turn that heater off, or I didn't blow that candle out, and they didn't go back and double check. So, my advice is, if you're renting, get renter's insurance. Be very, very cautious with any of the heating that you're using right now. And, just remember, if anything does happen to you personally or to one of your neighbors, the American Red Cross is a national and an international organization. We are always there for anyone who suffers that type of a home fire or a flood or that sort of a tragic loss. The mission of the Red Cross is to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies. And that can be through hurricane response, which we've just coming out of hurricane season. It can be the home fires. It can be any type of flooding. We've had these, as you said, in the lovely Pocono Mountains, and in many other areas in the United States, 9, 10, 12 days of power outages. All of those things, the American Red Cross is there. We are your emergency management partners for sheltering, mass care, sheltering, canvassing neighborhoods, making sure if people are staying in their homes, they have water, they have all of the things that they need.
So I know one of the services you guys provide, speaking on fires and being prepared, is the free fire alarm installation. So could you tell us more about that?
Yes, so this is a nationally funded program that we have, and we will come into your home and we will install 10-year lithium battery smoke alarms.
Nice.
So many people say, ooh, what's that? 10-year lithium batteries. Right now, you have that little 9-volt, and you're supposed to change it every 6 months, and it goes chirp.
I know it.
Is anyone listening or watching right now that is hearing chirp, chirp, chirp? Okay, so if you are, get with your local American Red Cross, or you can call 1-800-RED Cross. This is a national program. We've saved over 650 lives documented nationally right now.
You know what I'm thinking right now? I'm thinking that it's so good. You guys with the lithium battery, it's amazing. I think you guys are doing, everything is coming to my mind right now. It's like
I see your excitement. I love it.
Because many people, I have done it. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty. Took the battery off.
Yes.
Or when you're cooking or something, you take the battery off. Everybody does that.
Yes.
And if you have something, what you're offering right now, it's an amazing thing, because you don't have to worry
Exactly.
for 10 years.
10 years. Now, you do still test them. We still ask that you test them to make sure that they're working, because nothing is infallible. Things do fail. It's a mechanical device. So you do test them whenever you change the clocks, but not having to climb up there and change that battery for 10 years is really amazing.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If you have children in your home and they're hearing that chirping, they get immune to those extra sounds. And so if the smoke alarm does go off, they might think it's just another one of the sounds that are coming from their home, unless you educate them
Awesome.
to know the smoke alarm is going off. And then what's the next thing that has to happen if a smoke alarm does go off? Because everyone in the family must know 2 ways to get out of the house. Whether it's a window, it's a door, it's a patio, it's a deck, it's the basement, however you need to get out of your house safely. And then find a meeting place outside the house. We call this a fire escape plan. And when we come into your home to put the smoke alarms in, we will educate you on what the best escape routes are. The American Red Cross is a neutral organization. The only information we will take from you is your home address, your name, the number of occupants that are in the home, and if you want to give us a contact phone number. That's all we're going to ask. We don't ask anything about income. Most importantly, if you need those smoke alarms, you call us. We are a publicly funded organization that is funded on local donations and sponsorships. We are not a government organization.
Okay.
So anyone that is in need, we don't ask any of those financial questions. We just want to go in there and protect you and protect your family. We generally go out in teams of 3, an educator, a documenter, and an installer. And that way you know you have safe volunteers that are in your home that are going to give you all the information that you need to share with your family. We have a dry erase board to go on your refrigerator to show where those escape plans are. And we especially try to spend a lot of time educating children. What do you think children want to do if they see fire or they see smoke?
Go play with it.
They want to go play or they want to hide, which is the worst thing that they can do, is hide in a closet thinking they can escape the fire or the
Okay,
smoke.
okay.
Go underneath the bed. Yeah, the smoke's coming through the door. They might be doing what you say, oh, this looks like dry ice, if they're not, and do something that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that they have the educational piece to know exactly what to do if something happens in the home and not to be scared.
Yeah, education is such an important part as a nonprofit, and I think
Definitely.
just like us, we're really big on educating in terms of like food. We have a food pantry, and so education on healthy food is really important to us.
Definitely.
And so really appreciate that education is the key to like preventing a disaster, like you said. If you can
Absolutely.
save a family from having that disaster, then
Yes. Yeah, knowledge is really power in this situation, and part of our disaster cycle services, we call it, is preparedness, and it is the smoke alarms,
Yeah.
and it's also the educational piece. Hopefully, a lot of your viewers and listeners will know about the Pillowcase Project, and also Prepare with Pedro. So we go into schools. Local elementary schools, we try to get children as young as kindergarten to really understand what to do in case of that fire. So they're not scared, so they don't want to play with it.
Yeah.
They know exactly what to do. And Pedro is a penguin puppet that we have, and he is loved by all. And we go into kindergarten and we teach the kids how to stay calm, what to do. And then the Pillowcase Project, we go into the 4th and 5th grade. And those children are definitely of age where they can understand how to be calm in situations. We teach them what's called breathing with color. So if there is a situation where they feel very stressful, we try to ask them what is the color that would cause them stress or anxiety. So maybe it's orange or maybe it's red, and we teach them to breathe in and then to blow out a calm color, whether that's their green or that's their blue or that's their yellow. We let them pick their colors, but we educate them to stop and think and know what to do in case something happens. And by calming themselves down, whether it's kindergarten or any type of elementary school, it gives their brain an opportunity to think, wait, I learned I'm supposed to go out my window, or I'm not supposed to touch the door if there's a fire out in the hallway.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do X, Y, or Z, whatever they're educated on.
That is great. Because to be honest, I'm not an expert. No, I'm not an expert. This is out of the top of my head right now. I can see. I'll do an assessment, and I'll dare to say that majority of the people that suffer in a fire or something like that is because of what you're saying.
Exactly.
It's because they get crazy.
Yes. they
And
don't
when
know
you
what to
get
do.
and you have to calm down and
Yes.
think with your, like we say, in Spanish, pensando con la cabeza fría, thinking with a
Cold
cold
head.
mind.
Okay.
Because we when you're angry,
Yes.
that's why we always say it like that. If you're angry, calm down, get cold in here because you're really hot, and then you're not gonna answer. You're not gonna have the right answer. You're gonna have something that is guided through emotions that they're not supposed to be there at that moment.
Exactly.
And I think it's an awesome thing to do
Yeah.
with the kids. We focus a lot. We actually, as a ministry, as a organization, our goal right now is to build a place that
Yes.
we can build a place that we can have kids, and a lot of people out there that doesn't have the means to have their kids in a safe environment. When they could go to school, they can learn. We can have. I want a pool and everything for them. I want all of that for them. That they won't have to pay money for that. That we can get the resources so they can, we could teach kids to do all these kind of things.
Right.
Because I think we have lost our way. To be honest, we have lost our way in many things. Some people, you might go to a place and try to teach this, and some people going to see us, listen, this can save your life.
Right. Exactly. And the nice part about this program, when we get into the kindergarten and we get into the elementary schools, we send the children home with a book, and they are charged with educating everyone in the home. So it's their responsibility to go and share the information with their parents.
That's right.
And it's just like you're saying, when you're building your church and you're building them up on a good foundation.
That's right.
That's exactly what we're doing. We're building them up on a good foundation to
Yeah.
help them understand
Yeah.
what to do in case of an emergency.
Awesome.
And then by taking the information to the family, it engages the whole entire family, which is something, as you said, we're kind of lacking nowadays, right?
Yeah.
How many people actually sit down at the dinner table together every single night like we did at 6 o'clock? If you weren't home at 6 o'clock, you were going hungry, but it's
Back
not
in
the
the days,
case.
huh?
It's not the case anymore, So having the children then take the information and go back, whether it's a grandparent or a guardian or a foster family or a mom and dad or a single parent, it's then their responsibility to go home and educate everyone in the household. And they get a certificate, and they're really proud of themselves.
That's good.
When they learn all this information and
good
they have the
incentive.
ability
Yeah.
to go home and share it. And then they know that they're keeping their family safe. And it's just it's a wonderful program that we have. Obviously, the smoke alarms are a wonderful program as well. And all of these things are there to try to prevent and prepare so that the families know what to do.
And so, how can anyone listening, if they're really touched by this information, how can they help the Red Cross?
Well, we're always looking for volunteers. That's the biggest thing right now is we are 95% volunteer-led and driven. And you can go online, just go on redcross.org, wherever you are, and you can make an application to be a volunteer. And there's all of these different areas, which we're going to touch on a lot more in the next few minutes before the hour ends.
Yeah.
It's not just disaster. If you want to help the military, we have a whole arm of service to the armed forces. If you want to be just helpful in humanitarian services, we do a lot of fundraising. We do a
Okay.
lot of different events. We have international services that are available where things happen overseas and we become the connector here in the United States. If you have a special skill in spiritual care or disaster mental health, we can put you to use. If you're a nurse, we can use your medical skills on deployments. When people go down into shelters, we have to have medical care available. So volunteering if you have a passion to help others, that's really all that it takes. You don't need a degree. All you really need is the time and the heart to really help other people. Obviously, we are funded by the community. So if
Yeah.
you have the ability to do a financial donation, you can also do that on redcross.org. If you want to help your local community, it is all tracked by your zip code. So the funding stays right in the community that you're trying to help. And if you want to support an international or a national disaster outside of your area, you can do what we call a donor designation. So recently we had Dorian, the hurricane that hit Florida and the Bahamas, and much money went to the Bahamas because it was designated to the Bahamian Red Cross. Right, and there is a Bahamian Red Cross that the American Red Cross works with hand in hand. And so the funding from the United States public went down to help the people in the Bahamas recover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there's always things that can be done. What you can do is just call your local chapter or call 1-800-RED Cross. Even if you can just sit at the sweets table after people give blood, we call it the canteen. We give out cookies and orange juice and apple juice, and really what we want to do is try to make sure that people are healthy after they give blood. We always say make sure the lights are still on. You're talking about the cold head and the hot head. Make sure that the lights are still on, and give them a little bit of sugar. And so if it's an hour a week, or we have some people that are volunteering 40 hours a week, we can find a place for you.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why sugar? Why people? Why would you
Because
do-
as you give blood, you deplete your blood supply. It takes your sugar levels down with it when you deplete your
that's
blood.
why you get dizzy.
So that's why you get dizzy. And the volume itself, because we're draining you of that pint of blood. So
Okay.
your volume gets a little lower. Might bring your blood pressure down a little bit. So we want to make sure that we
I
get
need to
you-
donate blood.
we
then.
get you sugared up. Yeah, exactly. I always know when it's time because my veins start to pop in my hands, and I'm
Really?
very close to being ready once again to give blood. And they will flatten out because they'll take a unit, and they'll take a unit, and then they'll flatten out, and then my body will make more, and
So-
in 56 days I can give more blood.
So
Is
what,
that
what
how
will you
active-
say? What will you say? I'm ready.
Yeah, I think you're good. I think you're good.
I'm ready?
I am not a phlebotomist, that's for sure. I'm a humanitarian, but I am not a phlebotomist.
But
I leave that up to the nurses to
your
do.
body reproduce that.
It
right?
does,
In
absolutely.
56 days.
56 days you can give again. Yes, you actually replenish your blood very, very quickly, but we want to make sure that you stay at full volume for those 56 days because we want you to stay healthy so that you can continue to give blood.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that often that you
Yes.
could go.
Yep,
I
every
thought-
56 days. And once you're in the American
That's-
Red Cross system, you'll get a phone call when it becomes time or a text message letting you know that it's time for you to be able to donate again. So it's really wonderful.
I mean, New York is New York. You it's like, when you're in New York City, I don't know. Yeah, you've been in New York.
I've been to New York
many
yes,
times.
Yes.
It's crazy, because you saying that just remind me something. The guys in New York City, I remember back in the days, they were like giving money for the.
Yes,
For the
right. You're pay. Certain blood banks do pay for blood. We do not. American Red Cross does
And
not pay.
I know it was a line and a half.
Yes.
For the people in the street, different needs. They gotta,
Yes.
they're gonna get their money either other way.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing the line, so much, and I was like, how often do you go there? I said, they don't let you go. If it would be for me, I would be every other day. I was like,
Yes.
yeah, but they don't let you go there, do
No.
that like that.
No, and you
Yeah.
have to be healthy because that blood is going into someone else.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of preliminary testing, before that blood is used. And many times we have had people that have had diseases discovered because they
Of
gave
that,
blood.
I can imagine.
And so then the American Red Cross, and I'm sure other blood banks as well, would let you know, wow, we saw a spiked white count, you have an infection, or, we've had some cases locally where blood cancers have been detected by the American Red Cross
Yeah.
and brought to a patient's attention, and they would have never known had they not had the beautiful heart to be able to go and generously share their blood with others.
What will be the what you guys looking for in a blood type when it comes like that? What kind of disease it will be a blood that you can use?
Well, O is the generic blood. So anyone who has type O, you can use that for any other blood type. And then there's a very specific chart. If you're a rare blood type, you can only receive another rare blood type. So anybody who is like AB positive or negative, are you?
I'm an AB
We
positive.
definitely need you in our system.
I'm
You know,
an
the
AB
A
positive.
is more common than the B. The O is the most common, and it's the one that is the most widely accepted for any type of surgeries and things. But, you know, we've had a pretty wicked winter thus far here, and it's canceled a lot of blood drives. And our biggest need is generally in the summer, and that's because the schools are off. And believe it or not, schools, high schools in particular, collect 15% of the blood.
Really?
And so when they're closed, we have a deficit in the summer that we need people to make up for. And then in the winter, it's generally the weather that's canceling blood drives. So if you have the opportunity to give, and the weather is good, like now, and a nice winter day, you can either call 1-800-RED Cross or go on redcross.org and put your zip code in, and a list of all the blood donation sites will come up.
That's kind of cool, right? Because that's smart too. Because they'll go in the high school.
I remember.
Yeah, you don't. You're in high school. You don't get yet to hear about cancer and high blood pressure and all of these things.
Yes.
You haven't damaged your body with the fast food nation yet. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
I've always been a very small person. I remember one time I wanted to donate blood. I didn't quite meet the requirements
That's
at
right.
the time because
Really?
I was too small. They were like, you can't really take
Really?
a pint out of you.
Yes.
You're gonna.
Yes, there are
Push away.
Maybe you had a whole
weight
pint on you.
requirements, weight requirements, age requirements, and they do differ for females and males. And that is actually all set by the FDA. The American Red Cross follows all of the FDA guidelines. So all of those things are set, and then we just follow them. And we have a lot of high school girls that they don't make what the weight is, and it does vary and it does fluctuate year after year. But we want to make sure you, as the donor, are number one priority, and your health, so that you're not going to have any of bad type of an episode after you donate blood.
Yeah, that would be
I think what I'm learning the most here today is how inclusive and how put together the American Red Cross is, making sure everyone feels included in what's going on, from like you donating, making sure like you're taken care of, and also knowing where your donations are going. I think that's so nice because it makes people feel like I'm really making an impact.
Right.
You know.
Well, we are the largest humanitarian organization in the world, and
Yeah.
we have been around for a long time. I mean, the Red Cross in general was established in 1863.
Wow.
And the American Red Cross was established here in 1881. And really, the birth of the American Red Cross was on the battlefield. So, we'll talk a little bit about the nurses and the blood and all of that. That really didn't even start until the 50s, when a lot of blood banking for hospitals was necessary. But the actual ground and foundation of the Red Cross really is in the service to the military. And Clara Barton, who is the wonderful founder of the American Red Cross, she was very neutral. And she didn't care if you were fighting for the North or the South. She had a deep belief that your families really needed to know if you were injured and in the hospital. And that really began the start of our service to the armed forces, to our military, and our veterans. And right now, we do many cases that's called emergency messaging. And so the American Red Cross is the only organization in the world that can bring a deployed military member home in case of an emergency. That emergency could be a very sickness, it could be death, or it could be a happy occasion like the birth of a family member when that military member is deployed. And those roots go back all the way to 1881 with Clara Barton on the battlefield.
She was something else.
Yes.
I was watching something about her the other day, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. It was not that I'm looking for it. It's just it was there.
Yes.
And I'm the type of person that I watch a lot of TV, but everything that I watch is documentary. I don't watch. If you're asking me about regular programming, I will not know. Because I only watch YouTube and I watch documentaries, history, stuff that can
feed your brain.
That's
yes,
right.
Feed your brain.
I don't got time. I can watch American Idol or something like that maybe for 5 minutes, and that's it. It's all. And I'm sorry, guys. You know, if you like it, it's fine. You know, it's just this is just me. But, and she was something else because she had a problem with one of the officers, right? I'm reading, you know, doing some watching and reading at the same time, and she had a problem with one of the officers because one of the officers didn't want her to help
Someone on the opposite side or the enemy.
and yeah, and she had, you know, they had their own place. You know, it was not that, you know, she was like you said, you know, it was not funded by nobody, and she was like, you know, no. You're not the commander here or nothing. Here I'm the one who says,
I'm
and
the
I'm helping
boss.
everybody.
Right.
Yeah, she was something else.
And I always tell high schoolers in particular, you know, if they need to really write a paper on someone that's really intriguing, that has a lot of information about, to do a paper on Clara Barton. And it surprises me when we meet up with high schoolers how many people have done a paper on her and how intrigued they
Really?
are. So it's wonderful that you had an opportunity to
Yeah.
learn that, because she was quite a force, especially for a woman in the 1800s.
Uh-huh. Well,
It's
it was, yeah.
wonderful.
Woman power. Woo,
Yes,
woo.
exactly. Exactly. And, you know, she really did lay the foundation for all of the work that we do for the service of the armed forces. We have many, many programs that are available for veterans across the United States. And, you know, a lot of people that have been out there that have served, they come back home again. And imagine yourself being deployed for a few years. It's not only you that are suffering a different environment, it's your family that is missing you. So we try to teach the families how to cope with having deployed military members. And then we try to help the military members when they come back to fight off the PTSD. So we have a lot of workshops that we call resiliency workshops, and we're always looking for communities to step up and really want to offer these workshops and be able to help the veterans get not only thanked and reacclimated to being home, but to really help and support the families that have been without their family member for
So
a
you
long deployment.
You guys do groups
Yes.
when it comes to that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a resiliency type of a group where we're looking for, you know, 20 to 25 people to take a class, whether it's the military veterans themselves, active military even, you know, if they're here in the States, and then the resiliency workshops for the families that help them be able to cope. We help veterans with their financial situation, you know, how to manage the finances. And we're really a convener and a connector out into the community. Well, for everyone. You know, you in particular work a lot with the people who have food insecurities. And so, you know, as the American Red Cross, we get phone calls every single day at our chapter, you know, how can you help me? And so what we do is we try to connect people to the right organizations
Okay.
out in the community to be able to help.
Okay.
And there are so many organizations that are out there that people are unaware of. And so we try to be that community connector. We work through all of our local United Ways to be sure that we stay on top of all of the resources that are out in the community for people that are in need.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because when we first, started, the organization and doing this, that's the way we saw it. Let's act. Let's act like a bridge.
Right.
Let's do a bridge, because we saw that it was so much division in the middle, and I'm talking now, on let's church. Let's talk about that kind of community because it's a community on its own, and I saw so much division that the progress, the need was not being met. The progress was not there, and it was because there was no bridges. It's like if many people will say right now, well, I need this, and that, and I went to the Red Cross, and they didn't give me anything. It's not that they didn't give you anything. It's just they're gonna connect you to the person that is gonna do that for you because they specify in doing something. They are doing disaster and things like that. If you come to me and you ask me, I wish that I could help somebody when it comes to homeless, but I can't. The only thing I can do right now is give you food. We have lots of food when it comes to that. But, I would love to get connected. Now I'm already here. Thank you, because I will send it to you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And we will, we will try to do that. We try to be a very valuable community asset, and know and stay on top of things. I was educated today to a new fund that's available, and so people will let me know, and I try to listen as much as I possibly can to what else is needed, what else is needed, what
Yeah.
else is needed, so that we have a complete resource guide that goes county by county to be able to help those folks that are going to come to the American Red Cross, maybe for something that's not in our mission statement, but it is something that the community needs.
Yeah.
And one of our big areas in the Red Cross as well is training services. So many people, they come into our chapters and they get trained on first aid, they get trained on CPR, how to use an AED, and that's a great community service as well, because especially with some of the underserved populations,
Yeah.
they don't necessarily know what it takes if someone is sick and in the streets, and how to take care of them. So, most people think that if something goes wrong when you're at the local store, you'll pick up the phone and you'll call 911 and a first responder will come. Well, if you're trained in CPR and the AED usage and first aid, you then become the first responder, waiting for 911 to come. And unfortunately, a lot of deaths do occur in the underserved population because people do not have that experience. So we try to make sure that all of our caseworkers, the people that are out there, and other social service agencies have the opportunity to be trained, because it's a huge part of the organization. Many of you have probably been touched in your lives by a Red Cross lifeguard. Most lifeguards are Red Cross trained. And
Yeah.
so, you talked about putting the pool in and having the kids to have a safe place to be. You need to have someone that knows what needs to happen if a tragedy does occur, whether it's in a swimming pool or out in the community. And the Red Cross offers all of those services to the community as well.
This trainings and all of this, they are completely free, or?
No, they are not free.
Okay.
They are definitely charged based on what type of service that you're going to be taking. However, if you volunteer for the American Red Cross, you can take all of those trainings for free.
Oh.
And that is part of your volunteer package. Is we really want you to be educated. If you're going to be out in the community and you're going to be working with the general public, we want you to be able to take all of those courses.
That makes sense.
A lot of people that take the classes are first responders, nursing professionals, doctor professionals, those folks, and that is a revenue generating arm for us, and that money that we raise through the training services fees again goes back to help the disaster relief funding. So in a way, you're getting yourself trained and you're helping support your neighbor as well. And when you're trained, if something happens, you're ready to go, and you have a great understanding of what you need to do in order to save a life.
Yeah, basically, because to be honest with you, what you said is I don't know. I'm trying to think if it's if it's that we're not trained or we have lost the touch with the humanity. But sometimes you see many things that happen in the street, and most of the people, they just looked or walk away, and you always find just one person that is willing to go.
Right.
And I don't know you or nothing, but I see you falling down. Out of the 20 people that were there, maybe one is gonna go down and do it. Some of them, they're gonna look and ask questions. I will say 3 part of them that will walk away. And out of all of that, if you don't have the correct training to deal with this person, I think if we would have been trained, people would be more interested in helping them. But because we don't know, we just keep it moving.
Right.
I think it builds confidence when people are trained. It's like, you go into, it's like you saying, but even with the kids, they're confident. Okay, like this is going on. Yes, I'm scared, but I was taught what to do, so I know how to handle it.
Absolutely.
Same thing with like someone falls down at the store, everyone's kind of panicked, and it's like you have that one person who was trained, who's like, you know what, I'm confident, I can handle the situation.
Right.
So it's really nice that you guys do training like that.
And I
for
don't think it's easy
volunteers.
too. When a person is dying or a person is going through something like that, I think that's the first thing that goes through your mind. Like, what about if I touch it and die? It's like, oh man.
But like you said, the more educated you are,
Yeah.
the less you're probably going to think that, because that goes back to what you said earlier about that emotional thinking. And if you do know what to do, then you're going to be prepared.
That's
and that big part of the Red Cross that we talked about with the smoke alarms and educating the children, that whole preparedness piece, then leads to, well, what do you do when you need to respond? And back to your point of, do you just walk away, or are you prepared to be able to respond to whatever is happening right in front of you?
I think that half of the population is because it's what you said. They're not trained.
Right.
And because you're not trained, I'm not gonna touch it. Because imagine if I will touch it.
Yes. Right. And if you know how you're responding because
Yeah.
you've been educated, then you can really make a difference.
That's right.
And then what we try to do after we have served our mission, we have done our preparedness, we've responded. We do have volunteer caseworkers. Anytime there is an emergency type situation where there's a fire or a flood or mass care and sheltering that needs to be done, we have trained our caseworkers. So then what they will do after we do the immediate response, and basically the financial support that the American Red Cross gives after a disaster goes for just the immediate needs. So 3 days, 5 days max, we're going to do food, clothing, shelter, medications, eyewear. We're going to give your family an opportunity to walk away from the fire, the flood, the emergency situation, get into a hotel, make your phone calls, get your family together so that family unit stays intact through that tragic time. And then we're going to help you get on the road to recovery. And that's another huge piece of what we do is our caseworkers will get connected into the community. What's next? Now you don't have any place to live. So you have a housing issue. When you have a housing issue that needs to be solved, we know who needs to be connected to you in order to help you get on the road to the recovery. So the whole cycle of having a disaster calls for a lot of volunteers. We have one manager, one that's a paid person for that whole cycle of all that preparedness, all that response, and all that recovery.
Really?
All of that is managed in the community by volunteers.
Wow.
It's an amazing thing. It
It
really
is.
truly is.
It is.
The power of many. Many
Yeah.
hands make light work, as they say.
That's
So.
right.
That's why I say if you're interested in volunteering, we have something for everyone to do, to be able to do.
And I mean, I don't know if I'm right. You correct me if I'm right. I'm like that. I'm spontaneous, right? But a lot of people out there right now, they're lost.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Yes.
I don't know what to do. And they do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. What I see right now, right? I can see that you guys can build anybody's career if you really look from that
I
perspective.
was so gonna
Because
ask him
yeah,
that
because
too.
you can be a volunteer, and you start taking certifications, classes, training. When you come to see, you got a whole package deal by being a volunteer to something that is good for our community.
Right.
Maybe you got a, like you said, lifeguard. How many people do I know that during the summertime they work as a lifeguard and
Yep.
they come? It
Great
comes-
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great job.
I love it. I would stay over. I'm like a fish because I like the water. I grew up in Puerto Rico, so I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. When I come here, I was like 17 years old. And I'm right on the coast. So I would, mommy, I'm sorry. I would have cut class and
Go
go to the beach.
swimming.
Yeah, I go all the time.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's a very good opportunity. Like
is.
if you lost out there and you don't know what to do, and be a volunteer. Start helping others. By helping others, you helping yourself.
Definitely.
That's right.
And it's even bigger than that. It is a fabulous resume builder for young people. There are absolute proven studies that being a volunteer improves your mental health. your socialization. I mean, I think about so many people that have retired and they feel like they've lost purpose. And yes, of course, they're going to their church and they're finding their purpose and they're finding their passion, but to actually give of your time and help and volunteer with others, it really builds you up. To use what you said about confidence in training and in children, it can do the same. It can socialize you. You know, if you're older and you're alone and maybe you've lost a spouse, you know, it gives you an opportunity to build lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
And it's a common bond because you're working for a mission.
Yeah.
And no matter what it is, some people like the American Red Cross, some people like Big Brothers Big Sisters, some people want to give someone their dream, you know, and make a wish come true, or the Leukemia Society. There's so many organizations that are looking for volunteers, and it really does feed your heart to be able to help others. So
Yeah.
it's a great point, and for young folks, college people in particular, it's just a great way to show your leadership skills, to build your resume. And I'm going to hire somebody that has volunteered in the community right away before someone who has maybe even more work experience, but not so much community connectedness, and the heart to really serve a mission is very, very important. So
Passion and
it's a
drive.
good thing. Passion and drive, exactly.
So we're, time is flying. We're getting
So
close to our
fast.
time.
Really?
We got about like a good 10, 12 minutes.
Okay.
For
So
real?
yeah.
I can be.
But you were talking about an event that you guys were having, celebrating for.
Yes. So what we're looking to do, and most Red Crosses across the nation do this type of an event, and we call it a Heroes event. And what we're looking to do is find out who are the local heroes in the community, because we are second responders. So we work with the fire company, we work with EMS, we work with the 911 centers, and really they get out there when things are really in the heat of the fire or the flooding, and the American Red Cross is there to support them. And so we're looking for people that are heroes in the community. Most of the American Red Crosses have these type of events. Ours here in the Pocono Mountains happens to be January 15th. It's coming up. You can check the website. Any Red Cross website would be on redcross.org. It'll give you the opportunity to see all of the events that happen nationwide. And if you know of a local hero that you would want to nominate, even pet heroes, people who have saved pets, Good Samaritan, to what you were saying earlier about people who just sort of turn a blind eye and move past. Well, the Good Samaritan people are the people who do get down there and try to really help. We have youth Good Samaritans. We have adult Good Samaritans. We have people who gave a lot of blood and give life. Those people, we consider all of those heroes. So it's a celebration of community is really what it comes down to when we're looking to identify these people. And what I have been finding is most of these people don't want the recognition. But it's because they are doing it out of the mission and out of the passion to help others, and they don't really want the recognition. But the recognition is very, very well deserved. And we're not going to be like we won the lottery. We're not giving away money. We just want to thank you.
Yeah,
And that's so important, is just to thank people for what they do and make them feel really cared for and appreciated. And that's why we're always looking to elevate heroes and elevate our clients and make sure that people know when we come into their homes, we're going to be very, very respectful of what their needs are. We're there to coach and teach and educate and keep you safe. We're non-judgmental, we're neutral, and it's just, it's a wonderful way of living. It really is.
I think that's such a nice event. I think it helps inspire people. If you know that, like, Jane from down the road did this heroic act, and she's just Jane from down the road, then you from up the road can also do it too,
Yes.
It's like, I'm inspired, anybody can do an act of kindness. Anybody can volunteer. Anybody can, really put that passion out. I think that's such a great event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
About
Speaking of
the
heroes.
the persons that they are the heroes and all, how they be nominated. Anybody can nominate
Yes,
it? Or
anyone can nominate a hero, and most of it is all done online through any of the
Okay.
websites. So as you go on to the redcross.org and you look for the Heroes events, there's a link that goes to the nomination form. And if anyone is local, you can just call your local chapter, or you can call the 1-800 Red Cross, or go on redcross.org, and all that information is always there. We also have Facebook pages. We do Twitter. Everyone is reachable through the website, through the local phone number, or just the 1-800 Red Cross. Most questions can be answered, no matter where you are, even if you're international. Most questions can be answered through the website,
Wow,
which
amazing.
is terrific. Yeah.
It's an amazing thing.
So like you trying to get out into the virtual world, we're
Yeah.
also doing the same,
Yeah.
trying to really spread the love of what our mission is really all about, and making sure that we have the opportunity to reach the community, to help connect the community, and just to really help in general.
Technology's here.
It is.
And
Embrace it.
you have to
embrace
embrace
it. You have to embrace
You have
it.
to embrace it,
Yeah.
and it's just it's like it's here, and you have to use it
Yeah.
because if you don't use it, it's like you're gonna stay behind.
Right.
And it's the way to go. You're not seeing it, but my wife is right here. My wife, she has something very special for us because it's unique. It's a show of appreciation from us to you. She's gonna come in camera right now.
Here she comes.
We just want to give you.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
So you will remember, and every time you look at that, if you need people that either need food,
I will think of you. So it says, stay blessed, stay focused, and stay strong. And I appreciate that. I am incredibly blessed.
I'm gonna be honest, it's unique.
It is
The
beautiful.
picture is unique.
It is
You will
unique.
never find this nowhere. The picture was taken by my daughter's boyfriend.
Okay.
The slogan is us,
Yes.
and the Root Living Ministry in the corner.
I see that.
So this is the first of the kind.
Is this
it's
a
only
tree?
you.
Is it in tree bark?
Yeah.
That that's
Yeah,
coming out of,
we
like
went-
new life?
Yeah, we actually went hiking a couple years ago. and
Beautiful.
We just found the picture, and he was just drawn to it. and
Wow.
I used it ever since.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Well, and it really does embody a lot of what we do, because if you look at the dry tree bark where there is no life until you
see that, yeah.
that one little green life that's springing out of what seems to look like it's desperate and desolate.
That's right.
And those people right there are my volunteers. They are the ones that bring that
And the
green that comes out of that sort of barren tree trunk, and
Yeah.
they bring hope to the hopeless. And I always say we bring calm to the chaos, and
That's
that's what really all of these programs and things that the Red Cross does, this is really what we do, is we bring hope and we bring calm and we bring humanity out to the world. And it sounds like that's what you do here as well.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be here, and thank you so much. It's absolutely beautiful.
We
thank
try, we try to do exactly that. We do the same thing as you at the Red Cross do. We don't ask questions.
Yeah.
We don't want to know, like you said, the joke earlier. We don't know INS. It's no INS here, We don't know, status, ethnicity, nothing. We just, some people when they come and what I have to do, or this and that. So the only thing that you need to do is sign your name here,
Right.
because I need to when I go back to the people who give us the food, that in this case, you have the food bank, you have Second Harvest, you got all these organizations working, to give the community. You have to give them an account of how many
Right.
people you need to serve, or
Yes.
you're serving. But when it comes to that, we don't ask. We don't ask any questions. We just, help the community. We try to put a little bit there, and hope for the best.
Bringing humanity, like what you said, now, like you watch the news and everything is just negative, bad,
Yeah.
bad. But there's so much beauty in humanity and in us and in being together. And the more we volunteer and come together and help each other, we see like that love, We
Yes.
see the goodness.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it's a wonderful feeling when you're sitting down with someone who really thinks that they've lost it all, and you really let them know that, it's okay. We're there for you, and we're going to help you, and we're going to get you into what needs to happen next, and you're going to recover, and the day is going to be brighter when you wake up tomorrow. And that's because of the people who serve any mission. Really, that's something that's really important. Is I always say, people will forget what you say, right? We talk and we talk and we talk. And forget what I say, but hopefully they won't forget how we make them feel.
Yeah.
And that's really important, is that, that you make people feel valued, you make them cared for, you make them know that they're loved, you put them in the circle of kindness. And I always say we try to be like a big Red Cross hug to people. And we wrap them in a blanket and we embrace them and let them know, even while their home is burning down or the flooding is happening. You'll see very much images of Red Cross, being wrapped around you in that blanket. And that's the feeling that we hope to give people as well.
It's like going back to a point that you said earlier. Volunteering will allow you to see and feel different things.
Yes.
Sometimes people don't understand us. I open my house.
Yes.
I don't have a place. I don't have a big place to do. I open my own house so I can put full of food. It looks like a warehouse or something like that.
Thank you for that.
So I can give to the people, and some people will not understand me. I say you don't understand me because you haven't done it. If you do it one day, I guarantee you will understand.
Right.
When you give people food, and they tell you, I didn't know what I was gonna do this week for my kids. Not even for them, for my kids.
Right.
We live in a moment where the government, it's not working the same way that it was working 20 years ago. Before, you would go 20 years ago and get a one-shot deal. Let me get some emergency food stamp. Let me get this. It doesn't work like that anymore. It doesn't work like that anymore. And we have families that they working hard. I don't do a food pantry at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's why you don't do, because people who need it, they're working. They're not at 10 o'clock in the street. At 10 o'clock, they working hard. So they can go home, and whatever check they get, they have to pay the bills, the light, this and that. And when you see what is left, it's not much. Because what is left, then they have to buy food.
Right.
And when you help these people, and you see that how they feel, oh my God, thank you so much, because I know that's rewarding.
Sure.
And in my eyes, that is rewarding, because I'm not getting any money, I'm not getting anything, but I get a sense of satisfaction that I help somebody, and it's for me, it's fulfilling. Not for everybody, for me it is.
Right.
And I live my life, fulfilling my, what I like, and I like to help people.
Great.
So we're almost done here. We got a minute or so. Is there anything you want to leave our listeners with? Any extra information? Just to wrap this up.
Well, again, I'm so appreciative to be here this evening and have the opportunity to share a little bit about our organization with everyone that's listening and viewing. And I hope that, you will look up your local American Red Cross chapter and see how you could help. And, just remember, like you said, it's looking into the eyes of someone else and really wanting to be there to be helpful to them and get them connected to what their needs may be and what the community has to offer.
Awesome.
And, if you need smoke alarms, really, having working smoke alarms, this is a staggering statistic. Having working smoke alarms in your home cuts your risk of death in half.
Wow.
In half.
Wow.
So please do not be fearful if you need those smoke alarms. People say, I have dishes in the sink. I didn't take out my garbage.
Hi.
Forgive my kitchen. We're not looking. We're looking up at the ceiling to say, where does the smoke alarm need to go so that we can protect your home? So please, it's one of those things where, put your pride aside.
That's
if
right.
you need them, call your local Red Cross office. We're going to put them in for you. We're going to educate you, and we're going to try to keep you safe for this holiday season.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
Yes, thank you so much, Michelle,
you.
for coming on the show.
Thank
We
you.
had
It
such
was
a
a
good
privilege.
time.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yes, to everyone listening, shout out to the local church, everyone else that was listening, LC Joe, Annie Crespi, my bad, that was on. If you guys have questions, if there was something that you didn't want to ask publicly, please, you guys can message us. We can get in contact with the Red Cross. We can connect you with them, or you can call them directly and make these, inquiries on your own. Anything you want to say too?
Guys, remember, we got the jump off. Like today, we have creating consciousness. Tomorrow in the morning, we have the mob in the morning, right?
We definitely do.
Tomorrow we have the mob in the morning. It's a controversial show. You already guys know me already when it comes to that. Here I'm different than others. I'm the good guy here. In the mob, you'll see it. Watch it. Guys, thank you for being with us. Thank you so much for
Thank
being with us.
you.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here and come and and give us all this information.
Yeah.
And I'm honored. I'm really honored,
Thank
to be
you.
honest with you. We are the organization that started the other day. But it's all right. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We're trying to serve the same community.
That's it.
so it's
That's
very
the important thing, yeah.
Yes,
That's what
another
is
way
important.
To connect the community. I hope everyone has a very blessed holiday season.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.